Virgil Abloh is an American clothing designer who seemingly has the Midas touch. His two clothing brands, Pyrex and Off-White, made waves in the fashion industry by thrusting streetwear into the high fashion category. And the world's leading clothing designers have taken notice, as seen through all of his recent collaborations. Virgil's rise to the top has been unique, and his way of creating, thinking, and working prove that he's more than just a clothing designer. Pyrex 23, Virgil's first clothing line, started as a pet project when he was interning for Fendi in Rome. The brand's logo was screen printed on blank Champions gear and Ralph Lauren rugbies and sold for hundreds of dollars. The underground cult following of Pyrex put Virgil's name into the limelight and can be seen as the test run for Off-White. Virgil voluntarily shut the brand down, but that was only the beginning of his clothing design career. Pyrex is interesting because it was created in 2012, when social media was on the rise. Through Pyrex, Virgil proved he could make clothing go viral with social media and influencers wearing it. This began a new wave of marketing clothes through social media, speaking directly to an audience. By harnessing the power of the internet, Virgil is running his brand through his phone, something he talked about in an interview.
I work on the street, literally, like phone in hand. I feel like Off-White might be one of the truly first sort of like luxury brands that's been just built from social media. It behaves in this sort of hybrid in between a traditional system and a new system, as in streetwear, that clothes just come out at different times, they're posted on Instagram and consumers can buy them. And I'm interested in that hybrid in between them both.
Streetwear is an art practice, and I'll keep thinking that until otherwise. It's on the same level as any other movement that you would peg to things in the art world. You know, Duchamp, ready-made.
French conceptual artist Marcel Duchamp coined the term ready-made in reference to a series of sculptures he made. For example, Bicycle Wheel, 1913, In Advance of the Broken Arm, 1915, and his most notorious ready-made, The Fountain, 1917. Duchamp made over a dozen ready-mades or assisted ready-mades over the course of 30 years. What is striking about them to me is how when an object is put into a new context, it can take on a new meaning. In an avant-garde magazine from 1917 called The Blind Man, an anonymous editorial explains the ready-made fountain, stating, "Whether Mr. Mutt with his own hands made the fountain or not has no importance. He chose it. He took an ordinary article of life, placed it so that its useful significance disappeared under the new title and point of view, creating a new thought for that object." This exact idea is something Duchamp talked about in an interview once.
That's what the definition of a ready-made is the choice of the artist is enough to transfer it from a functional or industrial form into supposed to be aesthetic.
This is to say that the art is defined by the artist, rather than being determined by its medium. By removing the useful function of the cross pattern, or the quotes, Virgil is presenting that object with a new thought. Virgil recognizes the similar principles to his work and the ready-mades of Duchamp in an interview.
So the quotes, it's my language. It's ready-made. Same thing as if you look up Duchamp and he took a urinal and like frames it as art. So it's like figure of speech. I can describe a bag as a bag, or I can say it's a sculpture. And then when you read it, you have to think twice. So it's being ironic, but it's also I get to say two things at one time. It's a paraphrase.
I think the more you look through Virgil's entire body of work and compare it to other designers and artists throughout time, the more apparent it is that Virgil is more than just a clothing designer, but a true artist or designer who is pushing to make a new generation see and appreciate art, design, and fashion in a different way.